So welcome back. I apologise for the bad lighting setup. You'll have to cope. Day 2 of sewing in 20-minute intervals on my rain cape to wear in my wheelchair. Now, I haven't included setting up the sewing machine in my 20-minute timer, largely because it's such a heavy, tiring thing for me to do that I have to rest right away afterwards anyway, before I can even start sewing. So we've done this, and I'm going to rest, and then I'm going to start my 20-minute timer. And that way I hope... This was one of my frustrations when I tried to do this before, was that I spend so much of my time faffing about, tidying up, trying to find things. Couldn't find me a matching coloured thread that I definitely knew I had here. No idea if this is going to be enough now, actually, for what I need to do, so that might need to be on the shopping list. But it's up, it's ready to go. I'm going to sit here and do a little bit of knitting, and then go downstairs and start my 20-minute timer before coming back upstairs and actually sewing things. I've still got to wind the bobbin. I'm counting that in my 20-minute timer. Okay, here goes. Right, so I know I've got those clipped and ready, but I was wondering, so I've got some more bits, but is there anything else? Can definitely do the pocket welts. We can sew the collar. Looks like I can even sew the main fabric. Oh no, because I've got to do the pockets on that first. Okay, double notched edge. So one of those. How on earth? There we go. Let's roll that up again. I was still familiarising myself with all the pattern pieces at this point. What they were called, what shape they were, it was all a bit of a muddle. But once I found the pieces I needed, I could begin clipping them together. I'm using clips and not pins because the pins would leave holes in this waterproof fabric. Okay, to the sewing machine. How's that for an angle? Okay, what have I just dropped? Step 1, wind the bobbin. This feels quite wobbly. What's happening? Bobbin case loaded. Okay. Well, 1 centimetre seam allowance. 1 centimetre seam allowance. 1 centimetre seam allowance. Did I say I looked it up? I looked it up on the designer's website. The clips are downstairs. And yes, it's 1 centimetre seam allowance and everything. So with some of these smaller pieces, and because we're a bit low on thread, I'm going to chain them together. Oh, forgot to reverse. It's going to be a long reverse. Oh well. As you know, I like to batch my tasks together as I find it a really efficient way to manage my limited energy, and I must say it worked really well with this 20 minutes at a time setup. Didn't want to do that, but oh well. And in case you're wondering why I'm not using my knee lift, this desk is too high. My legs are too little. I can't reach the knee lift. Okay, I'm going to leave those chained together because they're quite small, they might get lost. Actually going to leave everything else chained together as well. Lovely, so those are all the facings. Now I have to do the easing, which is a lot trickier. So we were easing it with the flannel on the top, weren't we? So, oh, part of me feels like, we'll just go with it. My concern there was that the flannel lining seemed much too short to match up with the main fabric. I decided to not force them to match, as that would have made the ease on this seam uneven. I think I made the right decision in the end. This is where I feel clips are a hindrance. I'd much rather have pins in this instance when I'm easing something in, but having to limit the amount of holes I put in this oilcloth. My machine seems to like it though. I was a bit worried that it would chew it up or stick. Actually, I might have to just get a pin to smooth as I go. Starting to worry about piercing my fingers. Oh, and look at that, I've completely gone off the seam allowance mark. This is why I wanted to chalk in a sewing line. Can you see that? Let's pick it up somewhere where it was definitely even. Not even there. After that mistake, I just went over a bit of the seam that was at the right width and then tried again to follow the 1 centimetre seam allowance mark on my stitch plate. I am out of practice, man. Oh my God. This is not going to be good quality machine work. Look at that, chewed it up at the end. Well. I mean, there's a little bit of a catch there. All right, take 2. How much time have I got left? 4 minutes. Oh my God. Okay, let's do the quick and easy one. The quick and easy one was 2 rectangles that made the central section of the hood. I had a small facing rectangle to sew on the short end of the long rectangle of lining fabric. Even this was still a bit fiddly due to the difference in the weight and movement of the flannel lining and the oilcloth main fabric. It moves so much more. Okay. I could then finish the other curved seam of the hood. That is not at the centimetre mark, Claude. Most of what I've been sewing here are the hood pieces that I was able to clip together in my previous 20-minute session. The rest were the facings that I clipped together earlier for the sleeves and hem of the cape. I feel like I haven't eased this one very evenly. I've got a load of bunching at this end now, but we'll try our best. This would have been so much easier if I'd drawn on a sewing line and a few more balance marks. Jeez. And see, this is what confused me at the other end. Is that my shoddy cutting? Okay, we did it. Yay. How do we do with this one? This one looks like it's got a few more puckers in, but looks all right looks okay from the right side. Woohoo! have I got time for the belt? We'll make a start. Okay, I'm going to finish sewing the belt and then call it quits. So I just rounded out the corner there to hopefully make that easier to turn. Looks like I did quite a good job of cutting it along the grain. There was a few moments where, like there, where the cutting was a bit dodgy, but haha! So what I found interesting about that was that I had 4 minutes left and I was like, oh God, I'm never going to have time to ease in this curve. That's so tricky. And not only did I complete it, but I also stitched most of the belt in that time. I did feel a bit rushed, and I don't know whether that's conducive to my best sewing, so to speak. So to speak. But it is really motivating to see how much I actually can do in not a very long amount of time. This is including getting up the stairs, winding a bobbin and things like that. So, and I don't feel too bad about going over the timer because I did a little bit of faffing about setting up the camera and stuff. So I'm optimistic, but of course my instinct now is to sit here and finger press all that stuff and try and turn that loop. But I know that's not good pacing, so I'll have to leave that for another day. But the frustration, oh my God, I hadn't anticipated this being such a big part of it for me. I think I am very much a sort of person that gets into a flow. I don't like to use the term hyperfocus because I feel like that's co-opted a little bit on the internet, if I'm completely honest. I definitely get into a flow state with my sewing and tune everything else out. And I like that feeling, particularly because I have so much else going on in my life to sort of forget all my worries and really get in the zone. I find very therapeutic, and it's very addictive, and having to quit before I get that satisfaction, I'm finding very frustrating. But no, I'm going to be strict with myself because this is an experiment, you know. I am trying it deliberately to see what happens, and that means that some uncomfortable things might happen or I might not like it. But the point is that I want to push through that, or at least attempt to really be able to assess accurately just how this might work for me. I feel like if I sort of abandon the rules on day 2 just because it doesn't feel good, I'm not really going to get a sense of how I can make this, or if this will work for me. And given I've already quit once before, not this time. So I hope you enjoyed today's instalment. I'll be back again tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow for you, but I'll be back again to finally tackle this heap of stuff that I've now sewn and needs pressing and turning and all that sort of thing. So thanks for watching. See you next time.